Hey everybody, this is Overpass Live. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now this is our weekly live stream where we talk about whatever we want to talk about. We talk about apps, we look at each other's apps, we answer questions, we just have a chat. It is pretty much unscripted. I do no preparation prior to going into this live stream, which I suppose is not something I should be proud of. Every week, in fact, I put it on my calendar, 4 o'clock every week, do some preparation for the live stream, and then I don't do it so much. I mean, I could have looked to see what's new in Android news, but I only know what's new in terms of my applications. I guess what's new in terms of apps is I just got an email from Google Play about an hour ago, just a reminder to say you have to go in and enter the age rating on your applications by the 1st of September, I think it is, which is like, damn, I don't want to have to go do that. And the reason I'm hesitant on that is because I have one client who went through and filled in that form, and they put it was available for all ages, and then they got the app removed like immediately, just removed, not suspended, because their privacy policy wasn't up to scratch. So they had this, like, they were in a rush because it was for a trade show event. So rather than update the privacy policy, they just put 18 plus, because then they don't have to worry about the privacy policy. Of course, when they put 18 plus, it says on the application on the Play Store 18 and over only. So I don't want to get in a situation where I have to do that. I don't want to have to think about who the target ages are for these applications. But it's something I guess we're gonna have to do. So that's the only thing I can really think about to talk about this week. And then I've done a lot of visiting clients this week and things like that. So first of all, Mega Man is first. How's it going, Mega Man? Abelardo, how's it going? Abelardo Torres, Azimuth PH, hey, how's it going? Digital Tech, hi sir, you can call me Eric. Hey, how's it going? Walk the Talk is here. Walk the Talk is here. What's up? What's up? Walk the Talk. Abhay Poptani, hey, Bart Raka is here. Hello everyone, happy Friday. Yeah, Friday. It's a fast week. The week went by really quick for me. Rio T, hey people. Cordfuck, what's up? What's up, Cordfuck? Oh, I can't do that. Oh my God! You know when you launch into something, try to launch into a good what's up? Have you ever done like a full-on yeehaw, like from the diaphragm? When I used to live in Texas, I lived in San Antonio, Texas for a couple years, and it was one of my favorite things to do. Like if you go out, like, yeah, you can't just do it on the street because people panic and they think something's going on. But like just a good old from the diaphragm yeehaw. I would do it now, except other offices around me. But what's up, Biswajit? How's it going, Biswajit Chaudhry? Pragmatic Solutions LLC. Hey Eric, this is one of the best parts of my week is tuning in and watching this live stream. It's the best part of my week too. It's surprising, even though I don't have anything to talk about. It's kind of one of the fun bits. And I started thinking about moving it to Monday just because it puts me in a much better mood going into Friday. Yeah, at the end of the week. So it's but yeah, I do enjoy it more than I thought I would. But how do you respond to app reviews complaining about ads in your app? So you're gonna get some people complaining about ads in your application, right? So if you're not getting any complaints about ads in your application, you need to think about whether or not you even have enough ads in there, right? So I've always been like, it's a balance. You don't want to have too many because then no one would use the app. You know what it's like. If you watch a television show and it's all advertisements and no content, then you give up on it. It's too painful to go through the process. But it's also free, so you expect it to be some sort of advertisements. And nobody likes ads. I don't care what anybody says, and I know I've heard people say to me, no, but people like ads as long as they're relevant. People like ads as long as they're funny. People like ads. No, they don't. They tolerate ads, right? If I have to watch an ad, I'd rather see a good ad that is relevant to what I'm interested in. But I prefer not to see the ad at all, right? I'd prefer just the content. But that's how we pay for things. That's why everything is free. So people are going to complain. Now, if you have a lot of complaints, like if they're saying this is way too many ads, then you probably should look at that. And it's going to be different for everybody. But like if we have, let's say you have 100 reviews and 2 of them say, there's too many ads. Or say one of them says there's too many ads, then I wouldn't worry about it so much because it's all the better reviews that you have. So I've looked at some when I looked at I look at some other applications, some of the EarSpy competitors, and is all complaints about the ads. It's almost like they just made it to deliver ads, and then they added the content afterwards. And you know, we put the ads in there. We try to strategically paste them so that we could get some revenue from them. So I think it's just something you're gonna have to, something you should expect to get some of that. You should expect to get some people complaining about your ads in your application. Pratik G, hey, how's it going? Bartraka says, still confused on how to do Google TXT apps requirement. Google TXT for apps requirement. Could you please do a step-by-step? So are you talking about the, we're talking about the ad, are you talking about app-ads.txt? Dude, it was so easy. It was so easy to do. I did it like 5 minutes. I wanted to do a video on it. Like I want to do it from end to end where I just demonstrate like step-by-step, but I wasn't quite sure if I was following the right steps. And then I thought, and I'd have to film it over a 2-day period. So in the end, I just showed the results. But it is. So like if you go to any, and I wasn't sure whether I was allowed to show it or not, but if you actually just go to, I'm gonna bring up AdMob, but I can't show you my RPMs and stuff. It's kind of weird. I mean, the one thing I know is that I'm not allowed to show that. So I'm gonna share my screen here in a second. Just a second here, Bart, because I go view all apps. So if you go to view all apps, screen share. So you go over here to view all apps by going to apps, and then at the bottom, view all apps, and you'll see the app-ads.txt thing here. And here it should, if you have a domain name associated, with your developer account, both on Google Play and on iOS. So I should have some on iOS here. Do I? Yes, so your App Store. So it had it on both of them. So I had both of them to do. So it has a how to set up app-ads.txt, and it will give you the line of text that you actually need to do. And you just need to put this up in the main domain, sorry, in the root of the domain of your site. So if I go to mine, overpass.co.uk, app-ads.txt, you can see it's just that. So it's one line, and when I was looking at other things, you could have more than one line in that file, but that's kind of what it is. And it's based on ads.txt. When I did the video the other day talking about how, I don't know, like when they talk about spoofing and people taking over your ads, I was not quite sure if this is protecting me as a developer or if it's protecting the advertisers. But either way, I think if Google wants to do it, then that's what we're going to do it. But, so once I did that, these were all set. So if you look at yours, you might see this here is all set to gray. When I did that, I had to wait like a day, and then they turned to green. So and that's as simple as it was. So FTP it up there. Now, if you don't have FTP access to your site, then I don't know. I don't know what the solution to that is. You might need to. So if somebody was saying in the comments that they have a site on Wix or on and Wix won't allow you to do it, but there must be some way. There must be some way to do it. I mean, maybe you might have to contact Wix. But that was, for me, because of a self-hosted WordPress site on the server, it was easy for me to do that. So, yeah, no big thing. Ain't no big thing. So yeah, Bart, hopefully that's helpful. I mean, I was going to do a tutorial on it, but it's kind of like saying, what you do it, you do it. So, let's see. Back to Flighter1990 says, Flighter1990, every week I read your name and I think, why is it not Fighter1990 since you have a tank on your icon? And why is it Flighter, which doesn't quite, it's kind of flight and, well, anyway. Hi, Eric. Finally managed to make good ASO for my game. Fantastic. I use a trial version of one ASO tool and finally got my game gets 30 to 40 to 500 to 600 organic downloads per day. I'm so happy. That's fantastic. Flighter1990, what was the tool you used? I'd be really interested to hear that. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I get contacted by ASO companies to endorse their tools, and I haven't done yet. But like if you actually have an actual endorsement, like a real live situation, that's the kind of stuff we all want to hear about. So let us know. Hussein Gokas, hey, how's it going? Hey, Eric, how's it going? Matthew Kriege said, what's the easiest way to convert an app made in Android Studio Java into an iOS app? Dude, I have looked at like Java to Swift converters. They all suck. I've looked at I've looked at, yeah, because there are some things out there that do that, and I mean, they say they do it, but they do a terrible job. Like, because if you don't know Swift or Objective-C, it's going to give you something which may or may not work, and you have to tweak it anyway. So I don't really know a good solution to that, Matthew, except for rewrite it. Now, when we talk about rewriting an application, like a lot of times we'll have clients come to us and they say, well, this app took us 6 months to do, or it took us a year. We spent 2 years working on this app, and we need to port it to Android. Their expectation is almost that it's going to take 2 years to do, and you know what? I like to let them think that. No, basically, you think about when you're developing something, a lot of it is iteration. It's like, you know, you're changing things, you're testing things out, trying new things. And if you're just saying, I want to take this and move it to something else, it almost just becomes a coding exercise. You just need to code it. Make it look, you've already got the image assets, you've already got the audio files. If you're using audio files, you've already got everything else. You just need to give it to somebody else to do. That's the kind of thing where the creative process should have been in the first version, and then the other part should be. So you're all totally left brain when you're developing the application, or that's the creative part. When you give it to somebody to convert, that's right brain. In fact, converting is kind of a boring project anyway, but you know, that's because you don't have to do it again. So it might not be that difficult. Just go on Upwork and find somebody to do it. But don't let them, you know, we've had things where we've converted an app from, I don't want to say the languages, but it was just something that should have been so simple, and the developers, they completely black boxed it. Like, they didn't even look at the old code, right? I'm thinking, because you go through and test it, go, well, hang on a second, the validation is completely different on the new version than the old version, and they're like, oh yeah. And I said, well, did you look at the old code? Because the old code has it in there. Like, I don't want somebody who knows the new code, or I don't want somebody who knows Swift, and I don't want somebody who knows Swift and doesn't know Android if it's converted that way. I want somebody who knows both, right? Or at least if it's a company, I want somebody who can code in Swift, but then they have someone to consult with them on the Android side. So, but yeah, I aside from rewriting it, I can't think of anything. But some of you guys might know a way out there, like some brand new product that's come out in the last few months that I just don't know about. So if so, put that in there. D apps, how's it going? D apps, what does the D stand for? That's what I want to know. That's what everybody wants to know. Walk the talk says, ha ha ha. I like the way you walk. I like you say the way you walk the talk, and the way you reply to somebody to say what's up to you. Thanks. Julio Cruz. Hey Eric. Hey, how's it going, Julio? I always thought Julio was a cool, because my name is because my surname is Rulli, and I always thought if I had kids, I would name one of them Julio, because it'd be like Julio Rulio. So. Anyway, how's it going, Julio? Mega Man 2016 says, hey, Eric, good news. After adding app-ads.txt, my CPMs are up 30% on the week and still rising. Ooh, I got to check mine. I've not even looked at it. I've just been looking at the, sorry, I'm just going to sneakily check while you guys are watching. Mine are about the same. But yeah, I've taken the big hit. I'll have to look at it, because I've had just right before doing this, I've lost the big app, so it's not really a good comparison. But that's really good. So yeah, that's a good reason to do it. Pratik G says, hey Eric, I made a quiz app which I am not sure will make money, so don't want to get a Play Store account yet. What other alternatives of Play Store that you suggest to start with? Well, you got the Amazon store. You can start on the Amazon store. I don't think you have to pay for an Amazon store account. At least I don't think I ever did. You've also got Samsung store and Huawei, neither of which asked me for any kind of revenue, although I've not published anything to the Huawei store. And Samsung store, I did set it up a long time ago. Maybe they did ask for something. But Pratik, you're talking about $25 for a Play Store account, which might be a lot, but it's you only have to do it once. It's not like in the App Store where you have to do it every year, and it might be worth doing, because that's the big one. I mean, Google Play is the big one. In terms of all the shops, Google Play is the Walmart. That's the one that you want to get on those shelves if you can. Although it's big, so it's gonna be hard to be found. But if you can't do that, try Amazon. I'm pretty sure Amazon doesn't charge anything, but I've got the Prime account and everything. I don't think they did. like I have an Amazon account. It's not like I'm just talking out my butt. I honestly can't remember if I paid anything. I don't think I did. Walk the Talk says, have you ever published the same app with different developer accounts? No, I've only have the one developer account. What's your say on this? I've met people. Actually, I kind of have. When we do the beta, sometimes I'll do it on my own account. So if we have a client and we're doing that for them, I'll release I'll just give it a different package name or release it on our account, but it won't be public. And then when we actually release it, we'll assign it to their account. But that's not really the same thing. I get what you're saying. I haven't really done that. I mean, it just seems like you'd be in competition with yourself. I can't see if somebody's, unless you give it completely different ASO and different stuff. And the only thing I could see that would give you if you have the same account on different, same app on different accounts is if you reskin them differently, and that gets you around the repetitive content thing or the Apple 4.3 issue. But and I've known lots of developers who have multiple accounts, and if it was easy to do, I would do it too. But it just seemed, you're building the brand, and you want, as one of your apps grows, you want other people to see other apps by this developer, have it show up in search, all that kind of stuff. And the people who I spoke to who had set up multiple accounts, they were total, I've had multiple bank accounts, multiple addresses, multiple this, multiple that, and that seemed like too much. That was too much. That was too, in my mind, it was too close to perpetrating a fraud. It was just trying too hard. But it seems like the kind of thing you should be allowed to do. I'm paying for the account. I want to separate my products into two different branches. I want these apps to be targeted towards children and these apps to be targeted towards adults, and then I want to have these other ones over here targeted to a different group, and I want to have different brands. And I wanted to do that for ages, and I think they've got rules against it, but I'm not sure. If anybody knows different, in fact, let's ask this question here. I'll scroll down to the bottom here. Who out there has more than one account? And if you don't mind saying, because I'm always curious about that. I only have the one account. I live in constant fear that my account's going to get suspended, and then I'll be like, God, what do I do now? I've already had those two apps suspended. Update on the Ear Agent app, by the way. I have appealed it 2 more times this week, and they have not responded to my appeals. So hopefully they're thinking about it. Hopefully they're deliberating, but we'll see. But the amount of people who said, look, don't take this line down, Eric. Be a man, Eric. Be a man. Don't take it lying down. So I am appealing it again. So saying everything, dude. I'll change the icon. I'll change the name. I'll change anything you want to change, dude. Baby, I'll be who you want me to be. I'll be who you want me to be. Just tell me, right? Just give me the package name back. Because if I release it under a different package name, then I got all the ASO issues. I got all the backlinks. Everything has to start going to a new place, and it's like I just don't want to go through all that again. Especially now that I've got all the copycats that are competing with me on my own field in the sport that I invented. Let's see. Abdo Wahidal says, hello, I have 500,000 installations for my 3 apps. Cool. But in the last 2 months, the installations have begun to decrease dramatically. Do you advise me on how to promote apps in Facebook or in Google AdWords? So Facebook is probably better because you could target who you're going to, you could target it better. But it's expensive. As soon as you go in and put, I want it to be for an app, then it's, they start charging the app rates. If you do it as an app, you have different campaign types in Facebook, and you choose, I want it for app installs, and then you can have them go through there. The nice bit is you can put the Facebook SDK in the application. You could track the conversions all the way through, so you can see how well the ads are doing. But it's expensive. Now, if you did a Facebook ad to go to a website, then it's a lot cheaper. So what I started doing in the end was setting up my landing page and then doing a Facebook ad that goes to the landing page, and at least that way it was cheaper to do on Facebook. And then you can still do the targeting, but the nice thing about doing it on Google is you could do it a lot cheaper, right? But it's less targeted. And there's lots of ways you could do it. And if you're going to do a Facebook ad, don't just do download my app. My app is great. Do something that's kind of asking a question, trying to get the feedback of the people reading it, because you'll get it in front of people. So an example is we had a Vietnamese learning game called Vietnamese Bubble Bath, all the Bubble Bath ones we did. And at first it was just like, learn Vietnamese, like, and people, nah, no thanks, right? That's all it did. It didn't say anything. But then what I was doing was targeting it to parents of children. I think I was targeting it to parents of children who are Vietnamese, so that they would want their kids to learn it. And then so I had a question on the ad saying, what is the Vietnamese word for cinema? Quick answer in the comments. And then I got the comments going through, and it was a way for them to show that they know the answer to it, and it was a lot more engaging. And of course, as more people comment, the more it spreads, and then it brings the cost per impression down and everything like that. That was a few years ago. So you might want to think about doing that. If you do something where people will share it, and it's not just, hey, download my stuff, but it's more, you're making it interesting for them. And that's something on the Google side. I suppose you could do it, but and the other thing about Facebook versus Google ads are based on search for the most part. At least every one I've done has been based on search, and the Facebook ones are based on, they're kind of like the interruption marketing, right? It's that people might not know that they need your app. They're not searching for your app. And if they did search for it, they would find all your competitors. So maybe it's good just to put an ad out there to get it in front of them. And that's what, that's kind of stuff that really kind of excites me. Julio Cruz says, I had my app showing AdMob ads just fine, but all of a sudden it started getting 0 impressions and the match rate is 0%. No policy violations or anything. Any suggestions on what to do? Are the requests coming through? So do you have requests actually coming through, Julio, and no impressions? Because if there's no requests, then there's something wrong with the app, right? It should still be making the requests, and then you would have the fill rate based on that. And if you are getting the request and not getting the fill, then check to see if it's part of one country. Is it one country specifically? Is it everywhere? Because if it's everywhere, like if it's the U.S. and you're not getting the ads through, I would think that's kind of fishy. Like everybody's running ads in the States, right? They might not be running it in other countries. Maybe there's not enough inventory. There's more apps than there is inventory, and stuff like that. But in the States, you should at least get something. So that would be something to look at, and just try to troubleshoot it from that perspective. If you're not getting any errors back, and to see an error in an Android app in AdMob, you have to actually watch that logcat go past. Watch logcat, see if anything comes back, see if you get anything, and it should say when it makes the request, it should come back with no ads available or something like that. Just see if it's something there. Don't just look at the front end and do it that way. Try to look at the logcat. Gianluca Cesana. Hey Eric, hey everyone. Gianluca, I think your name is my favorite one to say. Although walk the talk, you're close second. Tom Francis says, "Hi Eric, I can't watch now. I will watch later tonight." Okay, that's all right. We'll wait. Thanks, Tom. Abhay Paptani says, "Hey Eric, can you tell us what hosting services you use for your apps and websites?" So if it's an app, we'll use Heroku a lot. We use Heroku for a lot of stuff, mainly because it's just easy to set up, right? Your development environment is your development environment until you start paying for it. And it's just, you push it out there. Now you got AWS. We use AWS for a lot of things too, which is cool. But you know what? When it comes to AWS, so we got Lambda, which is the kind of like Heroku. Like there's no site. So I have Linux servers hosted on AWS, which is where my our websites are. I've got some Node.js processes running off of there, but it's just like an EC2 Linux server. So if it runs out of disk space, it's just like it's a virtual box, but it's it can still run a disk space. The processes can still crash, and nobody knows, all that kind of stuff. The nice thing with like Heroku is it's just running, and you don't have to think about any of the infrastructure. But then you also don't have stuff like, I don't think you have a lot of files like in Heroku. I think you don't have a lot of disk space. So like if you like upload a file and just like have a bunch of file stores somewhere, that's kind of more difficult. So we'd always do something where if you upload a file, then rather than upload it, we put it to an Amazon S3 bucket. The thing I hate about AWS, every time I try to use AWS, it just makes me feel like a moron. Like the security permissions are all, it's like is kind of half and half. It's like half go through our console to do it, half, oh, now you got to put in this big long string of permissions. I just hate it. It seems like if I go away from it too long, I completely miss it. I feel like I have to get a degree to use AWS. And some things are just really, really simple. Some things are hard. When it comes, for some projects we use Firebase. I talk about Firebase all the time. Firebase is nice and easy. Yeah, in terms of permissions and stuff. And then you also have, when you do Firebase app, you also have the accompanying Google Cloud Platform. And I have done one Node.js app which was running on Google Cloud Platform, and I find Google Platform to be easier to understand. I mean, the Amazon bit, Amazon, I just find it complicated. I find it overly complicated using AWS, especially if you have clients and they're giving you access. You got all this stuff going on. Oh my God. Those are some of the ones I use. So yeah, Heroku's my favorite. Even though it's been around a long time. AWS Lambda is pretty good. And also Azure. So we've used Azure for a few projects. So we use Azure Notification Hub. I've used Azure to host Node.js services. Again, not as a hosted server, but actually, I forget what it's called. I have something running on Azure. It's been running there for years on Node.js. Actually, it's still on Azure, but the app has been removed. So, I mean, I removed the app years ago, but for all I know, the API is still there. And then Azure has stuff like Notification Hub, where you can do push notifications, just like Firebase. I mean, they're kind of all similar. It's kind of, you pick your favorites. And when it comes to Azure, I also think Azure is a bit overly complicated, just in my opinion. Or it's just every time I go to use it, they change the interface, and I suppose if you use it every day, it wouldn't be so bad. So, how's that for a rant about all the platforms? Well, I mean, are there any that I'm missing there that you guys are use? Abdo Wahidal says, why AdMob ads stop showing in my brother apps? Don't know. I would run it in Logcat in test mode and see if you get the ad. If you get them in test mode, if you get it when you add test device, you might. I don't want to say that. You might want to run it once without the test device on there just to see if you get something back. So it should come back with something when it makes requests, right? It could be a bug in the application, but more likely it's something, or it could be there's no inventory available, right? So that's why you check the requests and the impressions. Restreambot, Facebook, Tariq Ayubi, hey, how's it going? You're coming from Facebook. Woo, you're the only one over on the Facebook page. If anybody else is on the Facebook page, put it in the comments now. Oh yeah, you know what? I'm gonna start saying this. If you're watching the live stream, go ahead and hit the like button, please, because I don't say that enough, and apparently it's important. So yeah, hey, so you guys, if you're enjoying this live stream so far, just go ahead and smash that like button. Yeah. So, all right, Digital Tech says, sir, my AdMob domain, no domain showing. What should I do? If you don't have a domain showing, you should be fine. Probably means you don't have. My understanding is you don't have a website set up in the Google Play Console. So you should be, if you had one. So like I went and looked to see the on the app developer page under settings on Google Play. I have that domain actually set up there. Let me see. Let me just show this so we could do this. Although somebody complained last week that I'm always like a half an hour behind on the questions because I ramble. So sorry about that. So I hope you guys are keeping up with me on the questions, but put your questions out at the end. Let's see. I'm gonna go into my console. I don't think there's anything here I can't show. But if I go into my console, go to settings, and then I got the account details. I'm pretty sure it's this. I assume that this is the one that we're looking at. So if you look at the description on what to do about app-ads.txt, it does say it is what's set up on the Google Play Console and in the App Store, Google Play Console and in the App Store. So I assume that's. I looked at it and I assume that's what it is. Tom Francis says, maybe one question. Do you know some good tools so I could get notified with a Slack trace when my Ionic app crashed of a JavaScript error happened? Is a roll bar suitable for it, or any other suggestions? Rodrigo was telling me about something to do that, because my whole thing with Ionic apps is that if I get a remote crash, it does it silently, especially Ionic v1. I don't know if they've done anything subsequently. So we get the white screen, right? Some users somewhere, and it's like you get like third hand, right? So we have a client who says their support people heard from another support people of their client saying some users the screen just turns white, and and you start to say, what phone is it, what device, what platform are they on, and it's get that information. And it would be really nice to have that information if it actually broke the build and had a stack trace, so you get it in Crash Analytics. So, but there must be something like that out there, and Rodrigo was telling me something about it. So if you had something that even just having a global error handler in JavaScript. Now I know I've used a global error handler. I know it's Corona. I use a global error handler in, but that's the kind of thing where, as long as you can capture those errors, then you should have a way to I mean, Slack as an API, you should be able to do something like that, because Slack has a really good API. I mean, everything integrates with Slack. But yeah, Tom, I don't know. That's a really good question. That would be a good one to. I'm sure there must be something. Next time, if Rodrigo shows up, oh, he's here. He's here. All right. So Rodrigo, do you know anything? Sorry, wait. That's because I'm half an hour behind on the questions. So yeah, let's check on that. So Flighter1990 says, I used AppTweak ASO tool 7-day trial. AppTweak. There are some cool tools that work for my game in ASO. AppTweak. Have I ever used that one? Let's have a look. AppTweak. So last week I looked at something called King of App, and I got a call today. I was driving from a client site. Got a call from somebody saying, you mentioned it on the live stream, and I want to show you everything it does. And I was like, didn't have time to do it then. But so if somebody's watching from AppTweak, give me a call. We'd like to look at it. So, all right. So I've never seen this one before. So Flighter1990 says that this helped them go from 30 to 40 downloads per day to 500 to 600, I think it was. So I'll have a look at that. So let's do this in real time, because we're on the live stream. Why not? So let's go to Google Play Store. Keyword suggestions for puzzle. We don't want puzzle. Let's do spy, because that's the one that I used to rank for. So spy, app, spy, bullet. So okay, it looks like it's just taking the Google Suggest API, or the Google Play Suggest API. So going through this, which is the kind of thing, if you go to Google Play Store, google.com, not that one, this one, and you just start going like, say, spy A. Oh, they used to give you more. Why does it only give me one? If they changed it, they used to give you 5. So cool. So that is called AppTweak. If anybody else has used it, let us know, because I'm still old school, sensor tower, mobile action. Not too impressed with them. Everything you do is actually, let's go back to this, because this would be something. Like, one thing about ASO tools is they're always so expensive. Here we go. Starters at $69 a month. 200 keywords, 15 followed apps. Nothing else. $299. The Guru Power is $5.99 a month. See, what I want is for an ASO company, like, I would happily pay $600 a month if I was able to make $1,000 a month from these improvements. But this is like, it's really weird, and that's yearly. So anyway, ASO tools are always so overly priced with not a lot of training materials. So you think, because a lot of it is, I don't understand it. I think it's probably competitively priced with other things too, and it has to rely on scraping, I think, because they don't have any open APIs for that, as far as I know. Matthew Creaky says, I tried Kotlin. Oh, to Kotlin. Okay. Well, so you might be able to do that. I don't know if you can find a Kotlin to Swift converter. But even that, like, the converters won't work. The converters will suck, right? Yeah, you could. Yeah, I mean, Swift. Use Swift, Matthew. I mean, it can't be that hard to learn, right? But or get somebody else to do it. You're the creative genius behind it. You've built it. You basically have a working prototype for what they have to build, right? They don't have to do anything in terms of specifications or anything like that. You just give it to them and they can do it. Convert it from Android to iOS. Ruchin says, do you know anyone, normal person, making millions from apps? No, because I think once they start making millions from apps, they're no longer a normal person. But no, I don't know anybody. I'm not one of them. I have met people who make a lot more than I do from apps. Yeah, I don't personally. I don't know anybody personally, Ruchin. So, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. It just means that my circle of friends is very, very small. Adam Major, hey, how's it going? Air Grip Biker says, hi. Do you time bomb your apps? Did you find that clients are making their payments in time? No, I've never done that. I've thought about it. I haven't thought about it with apps because they own the code, and I just think it's. But I have had clients making. I have had problems with clients making their payments on time. Yes, I have had that, and it's like there's some which maybe like. They might be a week late, but they'll tell you beforehand. That's perfectly fine, right? I'm like, but there's some that they just ghost you, right? They go missing, right? The thing about that though is, there's always a platform upgrade. There's always something else, And I don't hand over the code until it's paid for. That's one thing, right? If we get into a situation where, so we do like say, we used to do 25, 25, 50. Now we do 50, 50. So 50 in front, 50 behind, 50 at the end after go live. So after that, we don't hand over the code until after that second 50% payment is, because that's the one they don't want to make. I mean, it's like, it's not that they don't want to make it. It's like that's the one. If they're going to procrastinate, it's going to be on that one, right? There's nothing to gain. It's already live, right? It's already live. But they don't get the code until that's done, and there's always going to be some issue. So there's always going to be some issue. There's always be something that comes up, and they need to come back to you. You have the code if they want to make any changes. So that's kind of what I do, and it might be a bit dangerous that way, but that's just one of the risks. So let's see. D is about D apps is Djalma. Djalma? Is it Djalma? Djalma. Cool. All right, that's D apps. Rodrigo is here. Everybody can go home. Rodrigo's here. Max Weber, how's it going? Let's see. Extra gameplay. Hi, Eric. Your videos are great. Thank you very much, Extra Gameplay. Thanks for making it to live stream today. Matthew Creaky says, can I use ads.txt without a website? I don't know. I mean, it's app-ads.txt. Ads.txt is for AdSense. So if you read the specification, which I started to read the specification. It's only like 14 pages long, but so I started reading it, and apparently it's based on ads.txt, which was done for AdSense, but this is the app-ads, app-ads.txt is for the for our ads and applications. So and it, like I said, it says that it's not mandatory, but that's the thing about ads you have to remember is that when people are bidding on ads, they're bidding on a certain amount of ads, and so there's a certain amount of real estate, and Google's the one who decides who gets which ads and which are the higher paid ads or whatever. So you want your real estate to be as attractive as possible. So if you have a billboard, right? If you have a billboard in a good part of town where they know that it's going to do the best good. You know, the users are going to click on it more often. It's going to be more attractive. It's going to make their clients more money. It's going to make Google's AdMob's clients more money. Then they're going to put it into your application. Whereas if you have one that doesn't, and you might not get the good ones. I mean, just that way. So that's always my assumption on how that works. D App says, which store you like more, Play Store or App Store? It depends. It depends on who screwed me over last. Right now, Play Store screwed me over last. So I like Play Store more. I just do. Like I was in a client meeting yesterday, which I feel so there's a video tomorrow where I went to London to meet with some clients. But it's funny, when I meet with clients, everybody assumes that most people have the type of phone that they have. So I was in there with my iPhone, right? My iPhone, my iPhone 8, which I'm still using until I get a Pixel or whatever the latest Google one is. But I'll just get enough use out of this. And I was saying that my preference is Android, and it's about a 50-50 split in the UK. In fact, I think Android has a little bit of an edge right now. So if you look at StatCounter, we did a video about it last year. So they're kind of neck and neck in the UK. In the US, iOS has like 52% share. Android is like 48%. So it's pretty much split. But globally, it's like 78% Android. iOS is a much smaller percentage. So I was talking about that. And I was saying how I prefer Android. I prefer Google Play. I prefer the whole ecosystem. I like the reporting that I get. I like all that kind of stuff. And the iOS side, it seems like it always felt to me like they don't want me as a developer, right? I have to get the permission for anything. If they reject something, I have no recourse. If an Android app gets rejected, at least you could take it to another store, right? You could host it yourself, right? With iOS, you can get an enterprise developer account and maybe do it that way, but you don't really have a whole lot of things you could do with it. So D apps, Jalma apps, I prefer Play Store. That's just my personal preference. So, and when it comes to like Amazon, I've used Amazon before, but I've never got a lot of downloads from Amazon, so I don't like it too much. And I just know my way around the Play Store really well, and they're always improving. Like the amount of times I go in there, there's something new. It's crazy. Whereas the Apple has new things too, but they'll usually roll it out and change everything else at the same time. Where like I've had things where I went into the App Store Connect, or iTunes Connect it used to be called, and just like a client just needed an update. So don't worry, it'll take me 5 minutes, right? So an hour, right? And I just go make the change, and I go to deploy it, and iOS has changed everything, right? Just the whole way things look. It's just, but I think, but don't discount the App Store because or iOS, because there's a lot of money to be made there. There's still a lot of people with disposable income have iPhones. That's what I'm saying. Jomative, hey everyone, hey Jomative. Cordfunk, and iOS is 99 USD yearly, and the user experience is terrible from A to Z. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, you know what? iOS just seems like they don't care. It just seems like they don't care about the developers as much. Google's always inviting me. Well, there's always a Google event in London. There's always something going on, saying for developers to come down, meet other developers. Like when I was doing with AdMob, I've been invited to a few AdMob events, and that was kind of cool. Go down there and see that. And they're always putting these events on for developers. And the Apple side, it seems like they're all about the hardware. Apple to me seems like they're the cool kids at school that think everyone wants to join their group, but you don't, right? You're just like, they think they're all that. They just, but I do like the hardware. I like my iPhone, but my next phone is going to be a Google one. Amazon developer account is free. Abhishek Arathi says, can I make USD 30,000 a year only being an indie app developer? Yeah, you can. I mean, yeah, there's no limit, but you have to. It's going to be difficult. So when I was looking at my apps, I think it was last year, I made 44,000 pounds. So I guess that's about $50,000. So it was like it was be like a full-time job, except I wasn't doing that job. I mean, I wasn't like not doing anything. Oh God, if only I was not doing anything, then I'd really be laughing. I was working hard on client stuff, but no, I mean, yeah, definitely you can, Abhishek. Pragmatic Solution says, what are your thoughts on AngularJS, React.js, or Vue.js? Would you use these frameworks to build PWAs? For me, to build PWAs, we have one app that we're doing a PWA, which is done in React.js, and it doesn't really matter which framework is, because it's all about what the manifest file and that kind of stuff. But I mean, Ionic. The thing I like about Ionic, which uses Angular, is that they've been doing PWAs the whole time. So I think they have a lot of documentation about that. Vue.js I haven't really used very much. We have some client apps where I go through and look at it, but I've never gone through. I haven't done so much as a Hello World tutorial in Vue.js, so I can't really speak to that so much. So I don't know what the rest of you guys think. You know what, you guys, not just my opinion, what you guys think about this stuff. Let's see, Add a Major on Google Play, but AdMob has not updated. It's already been 24 hours. I think I'll write to Google. Oh, sorry, did I miss the beginning part? Oh, you must end app-ads.txt on any hosting with domain. Okay. So Sisk Senpai says, keep up the great work. You are a big inspiration. Muscle. Thanks. Is it my muscles that are a big inspiration? I went to the gym on Monday and haven't been any other day this week. It's been busy. But like I said, when I start bulking up, I'm changing this channel. We're not going to be a tech channel anymore. We're going to be an alpha male channel. I'm going to teach dating tips. So what's up, guys? So today, bro, let's we're going to talk about how to increase your testosterone today. All right. So Abdul Jabbar Afaki. I'm sorry. Says sorry if I mispronounce names. Abdul Jabbar. Sorry about that. I have more than one account because I have some apps with partners, so I keep them on different accounts. See, that sounds cool. I mean, it does scare me to have all the apps in one basket, all the eggs in one basket, all the apps on one account. Because if it does get suspended, but then one day you may see me do a video where I'm just devastated. Oh my God, my account was suspended for some ridiculous reason. But hopefully that'll never happen. But I've just known so many people who've had their accounts suspended. Adam Major says, have you considered total rebranding of ear age and app plus description, that the app would be associated with only with the assistance for people? Exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do a complete total rebrand, Adam. But the thing is, I don't, and this is the bit where it just seems simple to everybody. I don't want to re-release it again under a different name, or like under a different package name. Because that means a different URL, that means new reviews, that means I'm just starting from scratch. And if I can go into the old one with all that new brand, I'm trying to get them to move my app from suspended to removed, so then I could go through and make all these changes. And that's all I'm saying. Please, Google, can you move my app from suspended, where I can't do anything with it, to removed, so I can make all these changes and make it exactly what you want. And then all the users, the thousands of users who purchased this over the years, can restore their purchases. But at the same time, I still have all the backlinks, I still have all the reviews, I still have all the ratings, all that kind of stuff. That would be the ideal situation, and that's what I'm trying to do, rather than release it under a different name and start from scratch. So yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. They suggested it on the suspension. They suggested making those changes. They did suggest it They did suggest doing that so that I could re-release it under a different name, but this time follow the guidelines. However, I haven't actually. I don't want to do that. I want the suspension overturned, and then it'll become flowery and everything they want it to be. But I want all the reviews and all the backlinks and all the ASO work that I've done. I want that to continue. Even though, yeah, so. Well, like when I changed the name from Ear Spy to Ear Agent, it still ranked first for Spy because it was in the reviews and everything. And I kind of worry maybe they'll think that if I keep the reviews, they'll have all the ranking will still be there because of that. But you know, I want it back. I want it back, and I'll make any changes to it. So the suspension thing just seems a bit harsh for one little, because it's not what the app does. It's not what the app does. It's the way that it was marketed and the way that it was the implications it had to it. So. Techno Joe says, Eric, have you or any of you ever experienced a massive increase in AdMob network requests and clicks from just one country on select ad units? Not without the corresponding downloads. For me, I have. Then there was one day where I had God, what was it? I think I made $300 in the 300 pounds in the day. Like it was one spike. Like it was like one day where I went from, at the time I was making 120 a day, like 120 a day from ads, and then it went up, like the next day went to 200, then the next day went to 300, and I thought, oh, this is it. This is the upward trend. Yes. And the next day it went down to 120 again. And right now, well, now it's really low, but like last week it was like 80, 85 kind of thing before the those apps got removed. Now it's, if you look at my Instagram, it's like 30, it's like 31, 32 per day pounds. So Jomativ says, should I go fully native, Swift, Objective-C, or Kotlin? It depends on what you want to do. If you go fully native, then you're not going to have any problems in the future, right? You're not going to have to wait for a platform to keep up with you. It's going to have the, you know, if when Google I/O comes out and they announce something new, if it's or there's a new feature that comes out, you're going to be able to just pounce on it, just put it into your application. Whereas if you're using a framework and you're going through, like, say, React Native or one of the others, then you're going to have to wait for them to implement it in there if they're even going to bother. So stuff like Apple Pencil, when they announced that was kind of a cool thing, right? The Google Watch, so you could have a Google Watch interface to your native application, but I don't think it's possible to do in something like Ionic, because I've looked at it before, and maybe there is a way to do it now, or maybe you have to build your own plugin to do it, but like it's a whole different interface, whole different stuff. So if you did go native, Jomative, it would be easier. The thing is, it's more costly, right? You're investing more time. If you're going to both, if you're only going to one platform, maybe you should just go native. If you like thinking, I'm never going to do iOS, screw them, even though they're 52% of the US market share, screw them, I'm not doing it, then yeah, go fully native. But for me, I like having the one code base where it goes to both platforms. And so these are the ones I've used. These are the ones I've used like in production. So like I've played around with Xamarin, I played around with other things, but so I've used Ionic. We've done loads of Ionic apps. I've used React Native, Flutter. Well, actually, we don't have anything in production in Flutter, but we have stuff that's in development in Flutter. And is that it? Corona. So we have a lot of games in Corona, and then we have some games in Unity. I didn't develop them, but other people have. So and that's, if you're gonna do games, like you could do games in a native framework and do the whole game loop yourself. But I think it's better to do it to use an existing framework like Unity or Corona. So let's see. Techno Joe says, on 2 ad units, I'm getting 200. Hey, there's 50 people watching this right now. Hey, everybody hit like. Let's see. I just want to see if you guys can do it. If you guys don't like it, or if it's just on in the background. Anyway, so hey bro, it's my new alpha channel. Make sure you smash that like button. I'm gonna start saying that at the end of the videos. Techno Joe says, on 2 ad units, I'm getting 200% click-through rate. I reported it to AdMob earlier this week, but they haven't got back to me. Yeah, good job. Yeah, report that to them, because that 200%. Wait a second, that's the click-through rate. How could you get 200% click-through rate? Does it mean you're getting more clicks than you have impressions? Or am I misunderstanding that? Zed's dead. Actually, when I hear Zed, I think of Police Academy rather than Pulp Fiction. Hello, Eric. Back here after a long time. Great to see you. Great to see you too, Zed. Thanks for coming by. Techno Joe says, I had to set a ridiculous high ECPM on 2 ad units in order to stop the requests from coming in. Yeah, techno joke. Yeah, that must be tough though. If you have all that revenue coming in and to go through and to throttle it because you're afraid of getting suspended, that must have been a tough call. Julio Joe says, do you see? Julio Cruz says, I do see the page views coming in AdMob. Is that a request? Yeah, that should be. Hang on a second. Let me have a look. Just gonna check my AdMob again secretly where you guys can't see it. And for those of you guys who weren't around, like a couple years ago, I did like a whole video where I showed my AdMob. This is how much I make. This is what this value means. It's like just like a full tour of it. It was up for like 2-3 hours or something until somebody said, you know, you're not allowed to do that, and I deleted it. So that was on the daily video. I removed it, but I would love to do something like that where we just go through AdMob. But then that's the kind of thing they don't want you to see the RPMs because we all have different values and that's the kind of thing you can't share. So so you should have the requests, and you should have yeah, I just got a text from Mark saying he just smashed the like button. Thanks, Mark. So the request, you have the request, the match rate, the number of impressions. So yeah, for me, I've got can I say this? So for the past week, 650,000 requests, approximately 85,000 impressions. The match rate is about 79%. So yeah, so I don't know where the page views is coming from, but you should see on the front of your AdMob on the dashboard. Let's see. What if I missed it? So Matthew Creaky said, Matthew says, can you review Melt Value Later? Yes, we can. The precious metals calculator, and give advice on how to get more than 5 installs a day. Yeah, we've been doing this an hour, and this is the first app we're actually looking at. All right. Is it just because I've been rambling on about nonsense? Nonsense. Let's have a look here at Play Store. Whew. All right. So I told Julia that I was only going to do an hour, but we'll go a bit longer. Sorry, Julia. Julia's moderating, so every time you see it say, "Hey guys, keep the questions coming" and stuff like that, it looks like it's coming from me. It's Julia's putting that in, so it's not me just like secretly typing that stuff in. So Melt Valuator, it's from Potionware, right, Matthew? So cool. So we got Melt Valuator, the precious metals calculator. Cool. So we got the video. Let's have a look. Don't be strummy guitar music. Melt value, easy to find the melt value precious metal US coins with Melt Valuator. So I would get rid of the AdMob test. Like, you've got the AdMob tests up here. Can you remove those just for the video? Okay, so there's a few things here, Matthew. Actually, am I looking at the right one, Matthew? First of all, let me just make sure that I'm looking at the right. Because I think this is the one we looked at last time. So let me know, Matthew, if this is the wrong one. But we've got from Potionware, the icon. So we got the icon. Let's come back. I want to look at the other ones. So we got, if I do Melt Valuator, yours comes up first, which of course makes sense, but I want to see what the other icons look like, because this icon looks very busy to me. I mean, it's just do precious metals here. So here we go, precious metals. So there we got a coin. So if I just type in precious metals, you're ranking number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Precious metals. So these ones have text on them, which I don't like. If it's not a brand name, I don't think it's going to be very helpful. This looks like very was it Illuminati kind of thing, and it just has a coin. So but it depends on where you're going. So if we look at your, like Matthew, if we were, and again, I hope, okay, cool, this is the right one. So if we were to look at your user acquisition report, I would like to see how many people are actually finding this, like which keywords are there. So let's go into my user acquisition report. Actually, I can't go into for ear agent because it's gone, it's suspended. Let's go into one of these other ones. So let's go to one of the ones that don't do so well. Let's go into Hebrew Bubble Bath. So if I was to go into, if you go into Google Store, and I know I've talked about this before, I apologize if I keep rehashing the same stuff, but go into user acquisition reports, and we have a look at how many times you get the store listing visitors. So this is the figure of like how are people actually getting into this part. If they're not, then they might not actually be doing, they might not actually be finding the application, so whatever they're searching for. Now if you have enough traffic going through, and some people don't, if you click on this, they actually got the organic search results here, so you can see what people are searching to find it. So this is Hebrew, which I don't give away any trade secrets here, but if I click on this, I should see the words that people are searching for to find that. So if you have people are finding it, it might not be what we're doing that. And then we start thinking about the keywords. If you're ranking well, so you're ranking pretty well for precious metals. So if you're showing up in the results and enough people are searching for that, okay, it doesn't show you the search terms, it's not enough there, but so from this report, again, just to rehash it, you got the first time visit, so like only 92 visitors, from search, only got 92 visitors in the last 15 days. Of those, only 16 have installed. Nobody's bought any in-app purchases or anything like that. So so we look at that. Then we would go into app-annie.com and have a look at how you're ranking on those. So let's have a quick look at the ASO section on here. There we go. Oh. Because if I do precious, because it's really thinking about your user, what would they be searching for? Like, what would they? Is there something? Are there things that that they would be searching for more? So I don't know if they would search for melt, unless they would. Sorry, go into this one, and then we go down to the ASO section down here. And we can see, and then we'll do, it defaults to the country that you're in. Or actually, I think it's to the settings on the computer itself. Because when I met at App Annie, it all kept defaulting to, so here we go, precious metals. So in the US, you're ranking number 3, scrap gold number 3, scrap gold calculator number 5, melt number 6. So you're doing pretty well. So you're ranking for things really well, but it's like, are people searching for that? So thinking about, which is good, I don't give these up, but think about what other words could we get in there that people would be searching for. So like who collects metals? It would be yeah, like is there like a term for people who collect metals? Like those kind of things we could put into the title to do it, because it looks like you're ranking well for these words, but it's either you're ranking well, you're showing up as search, and when they get to this bit here, so we do precious metals, and they get into this bit and they're just not attracted to this for some reason. I doubt they're going into PMI, because I mean, Lewis, if you're watching, I think this is better because it shows what it is, if that's what I'm looking for, but it's also very busy. So and if you do go in there, if you do have like a high, so if we go back to that that report and you do have a very high store listing, like people are actually making that next step and going to the store visiting, but they're not downloading, then we have to start looking at the screenshots, and then we can start, like, this is the first thing you need to do, get in the search. Like if you're getting in the search, you're not getting downloaded, then the next step is we have to start looking at this. So like the icon's fine, the title's fine, the keywords are fine, but then we have to start looking at these. So the screenshots I think are a bit unimpressive, Matthew. I mean, it's just it says what it does, so it's very logical, but it doesn't give any I say pizzazz, or just kind of say what it does. I mean, like you could add some stuff in there, like formerly known as precious metals valuator. This simple app calculates the value of metal, gold, and so you could have something where you have the app in a device and then have some background with lots of coins in the background, or like this kind of stuff in the background. So when I'm looking at it, I see what it is. I think just giving a bit more color to the interface too would be good. But even if you didn't, so that's like that would be the next stage, getting people into the application, right? What do they think of the application itself? But it's all steak and no sizzle, if that's the term, isn't it? So let me know what you guys think. Good, thank goodness I was sharing the screen that time. All right, let's see, where did I leave off? Oh, I'm way behind on the questions. I'm so sorry, guys. This live stream is gonna. Hey, you know what? Let's do it. Let's pull an all-nighter, 24-hour live stream. Let's go for some sort of Guinness record. So Abhishek Rathi says, I have a great idea, but don't know if people are going to download the app if they don't know that it exists. That's the problem with a unique idea, right? If you read any book on marketing, they say we all say the same thing. Say, I've checked the app store that nobody's doing this, right? That also means it's possible nobody's looking for it. So I mean, that's, if you do something that's totally unique and new, not only do you have to, you would have first mover advantage, but you also have to educate people that it exists. And that would be you might have to do advertisements and stuff for that, Abhishek. Let's see. Harish, so Adams, so I won't read your question if you're answering somebody else's question. So Harish Devanyam says, how about Golang for backend? What backend language you use? I like JavaScript. I don't even use TypeScript. I like JavaScript. I'm not a PHP fan, although I used PHP in the past. I used C# in the past, but you kind of, I know you kind of link to Windows if you do that. I know you have Mono, but I really loved using C#, but I never got into doing the Mono development. And when I moved to a Mac to do iOS stuff, a lot of the C# stuff kind of fell by the wayside. So I still like JavaScript. I like using Node.js because I can run batch scripts. Well, not batch scripts. I can run scripts to do stuff on my own PC. I can run an Express server that does whatever I need to. I can share objects and stuff between client applications if they're done in Ionic or if they're done in web. Or even through, if I have a website, I can share a lot of the same code between them, the stuff running on the server, if it's done properly. So I still like JavaScript. I've never used Python, and Python seems to be, I would say it's growing in popularity, but I think it's just, I'm starting to notice how many people use Python. With machine learning, Python is that's the thing, right? And I see a lot of developers out there using Python, but I've never used it, right? And I know that, like my kids when they were in school, they were learning Python, like basic Python. So I know that it's a useful language, but I've never used it. Adamate, okay, so Julio says, I just confirm, I do have requests coming in. Also, the devices I have as testing devices do show ads. Cool, so what I would do, Julio, next is to check to see, is it every country where they're not showing up, or like where are the impressions coming from? So I think that you can run the reports where you group it by country. So if you use the reporting section on AdMob, I think you can. Pretty sure you can. I'm pretty sure I've done that. They've changed the reporting interface. I say recently, within the last couple of years. Matus Yerblinski says, hi, I use AWS for everything, and I can't think about switching to anything else, but that's just my preference. Yeah, AWS, it's really cool. It's just every time I go to do something simple, like I need an added developer so that they can have access to the Lambda account, right? I gotta go, how do I set up a user? How do I do this? There's like so many different things. There's so many different products. I use EC2 for the Linux servers, Linux hosting. I use RDS for all my database stuff. And I think it's also, if you use AWS, I think you have a lot of job prospects too, because a lot of organizations are going that way. So let's see. Walk the Talk says, hey, Eric, my AdSense account got banned due to invalid clicks. Oh, But I have been testing my Android app with test ad units in debug mode. Had not much install. Got 43 cents only from clicks. They rejected appeal. Oh, sorry to hear that. God, you know what? Appeal again. Appeal again. So just say, look, it wasn't me, or it was because ultimately what you want to do is make them money, right? Appeal it again. Walk the talk. I mean, just keep appealing. I mean, maybe if you appeal too many times, they start ignoring you, which is why my last couple of appeals haven't been answered yet. But let's see. Ricky Stevens says, hey, Eric, does it matter if you have a brand or a company set up as opposed to being yourself when developing clients or customers? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I mean, when I set up my company, I needed to have a company for contracting. So it was either I thought about Ruli Information Systems or Eric Ruli Developer, all that stuff. But then I thought I wanted to have like a cool name. And so I started thinking of this like satellite technologies and all this stuff. And then I was playing around. I was with Microsoft Word Thesaurus, and I was doing like a bridge because it'd be outsourcing. It'd be bridge and all this. So I put a bridge, and it comes up with stuff, and this is Overpass. And I thought, oh, I like the sound of that. And this was back in like 2004, late 2003. Yeah, it was late 2003, and I said Overpass. So I registered the company name. I registered a .co.uk name. The .com name I think was taken, but I could have got it. They weren't doing anything with it. Since then, it's used for all kinds of other stuff, right? And I like the idea of having it because if the company was ever to grow, it could grow beyond me, and it's not that. And there's something that whenever you hear from somebody that says, "Hi, I'm Bob Johnson from Bob Johnson Enterprises," it's not that impressive to me. But that's just my own personal preference. But I think when you're getting hired, they're not hiring like my contract. So I had to set up a company, Overpass. None of the people hiring me, except for the people who actually did the hiring, knew about Overpass. Like my coworkers didn't know Overpass. Nobody did. And then when I left one of my contracts, I'd been there for like 2 years. I said, okay, everybody, it's been great working with, the email you send. Like, you got the leaving drinks, you got the email. Hey, everybody, if you ever want to get in touch with me, here's my email address. And it had the overpass.co.uk at the end. And that's when everybody started like, Eric, you have this company? All right. And I was like, yes, because I was too embarrassed to mention it. Yeah, I got a company, but so I was almost like apologetically had a company, right? It took a while just to be like, yeah, man, I got a company. It's going to be huge. It's going to be, look at this empire that I have now. But sometimes, and I admire the people who are just full on like, dude, man, I'm gonna do it. Hey, bro, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna go full on in this company, and they don't hold back at all. And sometimes you snicker at them because how naive they are. They don't know how big they can fail, but then they do it. They're like pushing forward. Example, I remember once working someplace, and there was a guy. He was a fat guy. He was like, I guess, obese, not obese. I mean, he was overweight. I'm overweight, but he was overweight. And I remember him telling everybody, I'm going to the gym now, and I'm going to lose like all this weight in the next few months. He was like very specific about what it was. And at the time, I feel bad about this now. At the time, I'm thinking, I can't believe he told everybody that, because if he doesn't do it, he's going to feel embarrassed, right? But he wasn't. He was like almost like everybody was cheering him on. It was like the fact that he actually said it out loud was more important in terms of his motivation than if he just held it to ourselves. I mean, I held on to Overpass in this head without telling anybody about it for years. Or, I would have, I can remember having the apps out on the app market and not even telling the people around me. I don't know why. I just felt like it was, I don't want them to make fun of me, because if they fail, I don't want to be, and these are my own kind of personal hang-ups. Like, they've held me back. This is why, I admire somebody who's like 20 years old and just full on doing it, because that wasn't me. And it took a while for me to even say, I'm Eric and I make apps. I'm Eric and this is my company. This is Overpass. I'm talking about Overpass every day. Even when it's, when I have the team, we have the team, we have all the people we work with now, but in the beginning I didn't. It was like just, it's putting that brand. So it is. There's a bit of that, especially in the beginning, where the only person who believes in it is you. And if you don't fully believe in it, like enough to even say it out loud, then the whole thing slows down. And I say with the utmost of embarrassment and shame on my side that I was not full on early on. Even now, there are times where I should be more full on than I am, and I hold back. There are days when I think, okay, I need to do a video, but I can't think of anything to talk about. What would everybody like me to talk about? And like Wednesday this week, I found it difficult to do a video because those voices creep in, and you just have to push through them. We all have those. So I know, Ricky, that has nothing to do with your question, but I just think it's it's one of those things where if I could go back and give my younger self advice, I would be like, dude, don't be such a wimp. Tell everybody what you want to do. Tell people what you want, and they can laugh at you if they want to laugh at you. But then at least everybody knows why you don't have to explain yourself to anybody. You don't have to explain to anybody why you want what you want, why you want to do what you want to do. Just do it, right? And so what if they laugh? So what if so what if you mess up? So what if you say one day you're going to do something? How many times have I done a video where I said I'm going to learn machine learning and I haven't done it, right? But putting it out there and going forward with it. Biswajit, like button and smash. Thank you very much for smashing that like button, Biswajit. I love saying smash that like button. You know what? I'm going to start picking up all these things. I should like, hey, Overpass team. I have one of these pet peeves on YouTube channels where, like, if I'm watching a YouTube channel and they try to put me into a group, like, hey, and they nobody consider, like, there's a podcast called Entrepreneurs on Fire where he says, hey, Fire Nation, right? And I'm like, I don't consider myself part of Fire Nation. I'm just listening to the podcast, right? It's like nobody thinks of us as a collective group except you, the person who makes the podcast, right? So that's kind of one of my pet peeves. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Sorry. Back to work. Back to the questions. D says, I love what you're doing. It gives me a lot of hope if I'm to be an independent developer. Good, D. You should. I mean, even if you're working like there's nothing wrong with getting a job someplace and doing the apps in spare time, right? Because you're going to get better at it. And we all have to go through those. So Julia, who's moderating the channel, so she's been learning some coding this week. I think she's getting very frustrated with it. And I'm like, that's the process, right? The process is frustration. The process is everything you start is like, dude, I'm terrible at this. I suck at this. But then that's how you go through. And it's difficult, especially when you got somebody like, if you hire developers and you know that they're junior developers, but they're struggling with something, like, we need to get this done. You want to just jump in there, do it. And sometimes I will, sometimes I'll get weak and jump in there and help. But that's a part of the process. We all know what it's like to be struggling with something deep into the night. I don't know why the screen is blank. Everything was working until about 4 o'clock this afternoon. I've completely done everything. I've backtracked everything. I've done everything else. And you just want to throw the computer through the wall. And then you find out there's a semicolon in the wrong place. Or you're not even like, have you ever done this? You're not even looking at the right project. Like, you got the code in there, like you've got the simulator running, like you copy the project over and you're making all these changes and can't figure out why they don't show up, and you're like, God, and you spend like hours I can't figure out why this should be working. Like, even I just commented out this whole function. I changed this label. And then you go off of like caching. Does the simulator cache things, all this stuff, and then you realize, I'm looking at the wrong project. I'm editing the code and the simulator's running another one. That kind of stuff happens all the time. Which is and that just, God. Let's see. Matus. Wait, I lost my button. Lost my place. Ricky says, have you ever considered doing tutorials? You seem like an ideal mentor. You know what? Here's Mike's fear about doing tutorials. And I've said this before. Is no matter what you do, like let's say I did, no matter what you do, you're going to be criticized for it. And I think there's so many, yeah, like if I did something, okay, all right, so here's how you set up a Flutter project. You do this, and then okay, we'll just type this in here, do this, and there's so many good tutorials out there. So many people who do it so much better than I could ever do it, and I could just see the comments saying, actually, on this line you should have put this. Actually, that's a bad variable naming convention. Like, I think I've just worked with so many other developers that I get a bit self-conscious about demonstrating my code like in public. Although I'll share it with a team, like you have to, but yeah, I just don't think I would be very good at doing tutorials. Ricky, let's see. Matu says, would you ever consider creating something for the Mac App Store? I have done. Is it a good idea? I heard it was not as crowded. It's not. So that was one of the. So my apps, when I first created them, I was creating them in Corona SDK, the games, and then I found out how to do it for the Mac App Store, and I was doing it, and the people were downloading them, but it's not as crowded, but you're also not as many people use it, like so like I only had purchases, like I didn't know how to do in-app purchases through Mac App Store, so we did it. So like all of our and this might be one of the reasons why I got the 4.3 stuff, because it wasn't just for our language learning games. We had 3 variations of them, 4 variations of each language, 22 languages each, free version and paid version, and then we had the Mac version as well. I mean, it was just like loads of stuff, and in the end they started saying, you got to combine these all. So that was, but yeah, I have done it, and people were making purchases there, and it's a lot less crowded. But like, I can't tell you how often, like I hardly ever look at the Mac App Store. Like, if I need a tool or something, this is the last place I think. It's just right there on the taskbar, and it's like, as a user, I don't even use it. So, Ron Sand says, "Hey Eric, have your thoughts on Codular? Codular? I've never heard of it. Check that site. You can use it with Ionic app. Oh, Rodrigo tried to paste in something here. Let's see. Oh, so Codular. Let's have a quick look. I don't know what this is. Just a reminder for those guys out there to smash that like button. Smash that like button. Next week, we're going to be talking about how to increase your testosterone and lifting techniques. So, Codular Home. So what is this? Modern app creator without coding. You know, there's so many. Okay, so let's see. What are my thoughts on it? I mean, it's not so much like we need another one of these. I mean, there's a few out. There's so many out there already. Let's look at pricing. Always look at pricing first. Free forever. It sounds cool. No ads and apps. Monetize ads. We'll take a percentage from your earnings. Let's have a look at mod. So is it HTML based? I haven't heard of it, Ron. So if it's something you're part of, then you just want to get some publicity of it. But I've never used it. So. And you've got all of them. I mean, we've got AppyPie, which has been around for ages. Which is if you're really looking for something, and I've referred clients to this, like when they have something where they just want to get something on the App Store, and like they have no budget, so they could go through and create something for themselves rather than create something from scratch. So you got the AppyPie, where you drag and drop interface, create something, put in the stuff. You've got Good Barber. There's actually loads. For a while we were looking into creating a tool like this, and we did all this research on all of them. So you got Good Barber's another one, right, where you can go through and do all these, drag and drop interfaces. They're all I think they're all pretty much HTML based, it's and when we were searching it, we couldn't find a whole lot where you could do any custom development on. So like if we had a client, the nice thing, like if we had a client that says that we want an app that communicates with this Bluetooth device, it'd be nice if we could just write the Bluetooth side, and then they could just do everything else through this tool, and then they could change whatever they want, right? Rather than all the design and stuff, but I haven't been able to find that. So Codular, AppyPie, Good Barber, there's loads of them out there, for those of you guys who want to try out the app stores, but you don't want to learn the coding, and you could try that kind of stuff out. And there's a new one every week, I'm sure. All right. That's a nice little song for you guys there. I'll play you guys out. Ali Bobo says, how does a Google Play Store determine similar apps? I don't see. This is the thing I don't know. When they came out with the similar apps rule, like I can understand if you came out with something that was like obviously a clone of one of the top apps, right? But if you came out with something that was similar to another one that you've never even heard of, right? I talk a lot about the ear agent copycats, and a lot of them are copycats. They obviously looked at mine and thought we'll do that too, and we'll also have all the same branding and everything. But there's probably other people who had just a similar idea and just implemented it, right? So it's, I'm sure there are people like, I'm sure I didn't have some stroke of greatness that nobody else could ever have the same idea. So yeah, I don't know how they determine it. And Dajal, sorry, I forgot your name. D-App says, I pronounced the names correctly. Cool. Making English fun. Why are you here so late, dude? Schools are heading back and my revenue is heading up. Cool. Please, it was getting worried. That's awesome. That's cool. Altamush Nayar Khan says, hello, Eric. Using search ads to promote paid apps is a good idea. If your opinion, yes. I've never used it. So everybody I spoke to who used search ads, actually, no, I spoke to a lot of people who said, they don't work for me. I've tried them and I didn't, like on the Apple App Store, I've tried them and haven't had a lot of success with them. I've talked to other people who haven't had success with them, and I've heard from other people who said they're the greatest thing ever. Of course, the people who said they're the greatest thing ever, to be honest with you, I think they were trying to sell you on hiring them to do the ads for you. So they have this ulterior motive. But for me, I haven't had much success with it. Jeremiah Atalano, hello, hey, how's it going, Jeremiah? Pragmatic Dev Solution says, do you use banner or an interstitial ads, or is it too many ads in your apps? I use both. I do use both. In your agent, I was using both. But yeah, I do. It depends because we don't use them at the same time. Right? So an interstitial takes a whole screen. The banner is like when you don't have those. So I use both. Rodian Sabas says, hi Eric, I want to give users a few hours of usage time in the full app in exchange for watching a rewarded ad. Would Google be okay with that? What do you think about this strategy? Google should. I mean, that's what rewarded ads are. Rewarded ads are specifically, like if you implement them, they will tell you what reward they get. So like if they don't watch the full ad, because it used to be, I remember trying to do rewarded ads when rewarded ads weren't really a thing, or like a few platforms did it, like I think Vungle did it, but like Google weren't doing it at the time. And it was like you just try to say, okay, watch this video ad, and then you could get something, and you were like almost trying to do it. But now you can actually get it where you get the callback saying if the reward was granted and everything. So that's specifically what it's for. I think you should be okay with that, Rodian. And you're not giving anything, you're just temporarily doing something. I mean, you're temporarily giving them access to stuff. So I don't think you should have any trouble with that. I think even then, I can remember once Google, I watching this webinar from AdMob. They were talking about how if you have, like if your in-app purchases, if your in-app purchases aren't doing well, you might want to try to consider replacing those with a rewarded ad. So see, watch this video and then you unlock this feature, or temporarily or whatever. So yeah, that's something you could do. I've done that before actually. We have that on a few of our apps where we have rewarded ads that way. So you can say you could either buy this feature and unlock all the categories, or watch a video to get temporary access to that category. Pork Pie Softwares. Oh wait, let's see. Making English Fun says, have you got an email about Made for Families from Google? Haven't done anything about it yet, but I'm going to have to. I got the email about I need to do the target audience age, the target audience age, and I've done it on 0 of my apps so far, so I need to do it on all of them. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to have to think about it. Pork Pie Software says, good morning from New Zealand. Hey, how's it going? Boy, it must be really late there. Oh, it must be really early. It's 4:55 a.m. Saturday morning here. Keep up the good work. Cool. Pork Pie, the cartoon should come on. Do cartoons still come on Saturday mornings? Stedo Fire. So thank you very much. Thanks for getting up so early. Stedo Fire. Already hit like, man. Thanks, dude. Thanks, bro. Go ahead and smash that like button. I'm going to keep saying that until you guys say, please, Eric, stop saying that. D-App says, I started to make 2 games, a project in Flutter. It's a simple quiz games, but it's really fun how easy it is. Yeah, so we're working on a couple projects, a couple quiz games, and I just did a quiz game last month, and I was going to do it in Flutter, and I wimped out because I was like, I didn't have a lot of time, and I thought I wimped out and went back and did it in Corona. But I needed. It's just like that little bit of resistance. Like I don't want to, I don't want to be in a position where I'm stuck. You know that one language so well. But let's see. Abdul Jabbar says, my name is Kareem Abdul Jabbar, basketball player. It's like Kareem Abdul Jabbar. I'm sorry about that. The basketball player, and I forget about my last. Thanks, Abdul Jabbar. Sorry about that. Sorry, everybody whose name I massacre. I'm so sorry. I am American. That's not an excuse. My whole life, people have mispronounced my last name, and so I apologize for being an offender. Chord funk, one person. So we're still talking about. Oh, we're way behind, aren't we? Oh my God. Are we? How far back are we? All right, I'm gonna have to start answering questions a bit faster. All right, rapid fire questions. Let's see. Abdul Jabbar says, for Ear Agent, you can add local regulation description for every country or state. For example, in California, you can't record audio with it anyone without permission. So you have the dialogue. Do you have permission to record this conversation? Yeah. I mean, right now I'm at the point where I can't update it. So, but yeah, that's a really good point. All that stuff, just give me another chance, Google. Google, if you're listening. Baby, come on. We've been so good together in the past. Techno Joe says, I wasn't actually getting any revenue from those clicks. It really seems like a bug within the AdMob SDK. And yes, I was getting more clicks than impressions. Really odd. That is really odd. Like that smash button, guys. Thanks, Rodrigo. Fiver Finger says, how do you provide influencers affiliate link in your in-app purchases to pay for them to pay commissions? When it comes to affiliate links, I think I've tried to do once where I did an affiliate link. I went on ClickBank and tried to do a house ad with affiliate link. And I'm not sure if you get the cookie and everything landing. So like if you had an Amazon affiliate link, I'm not sure if it would plant the cookie and everything if you go through the app. And that was one thing I wasn't quite sure about. And I think they used to have a rule about using affiliate links in apps. You had to have it from a website. But I'm sure that's not the case anymore because, so pervasive. So how do you advertise your product service inside your app? So you could, if you have, Fiver Fingers, you could have house ads. So you could have house ads which do, like, if you have like a low, so when you set that CPM floor, you say, look, if it's below a certain amount, like, don't even bother showing the ad. Show one of my own ads to promote my own company, my own product. So we did that for a while. We aren't doing it anymore. I don't know why we're not doing it anymore. But we were doing it for a while where it was just like, if it was below, like, I think 10 cents CPM or RPM as a floor. If it was below that, then show a house ad, which in the UK only, because for Overpass. So we were doing that for a few years. Digital Tech says, Sir, one of my apps crosses 500,000. Congratulations, Digital Tech. Let's see. Tech Genius, how's it going, Tech Genius? Says hello. Let's see. Fist007. Hey, Eric, how's it going, Fist007? You are late today. Pragmatic Dev Solutions. I have a private JVM to use Java as my backend. I write my own REST API and consume the API in my apps. So, like, I used to do my APIs in C# using ASMX web services, which was easy to do because all you do is tag as a web service and it made it available. And then I had another one where I was doing it in SharePoint. I had to use ASHX extensions. But yeah, that's, I mean, you can do the REST services. You could, I mean, that's one thing. That's why REST service, web services, SOAP, REST, whatever you use. What's the new one? The GraphML, all that kind of stuff. It should be, when you code it, it should be in a way that is transferable. Like it's agnostic. That's what I would say. So like the app shouldn't care what the server language is written in, right? It's just the API. Then sometimes it's better to have two people do the two different sides, because then you have that documentation, right? What I hate seeing is when someone does an API and they're using query strings. So account.php question mark ID equals whatever. So like if I wanted to rewrite the API in another language or do whatever, I can't, because those file extensions are encoded in the application. That's the kind of thing that it rankles me. It bothers me. But as an alpha male, that bothers me. Let's see. Adam Major, I've used mobile action. It shows for keyword. I have used mobile action, search score, and chat. So I've had and the chance to promote given top 10. I've used it for a few months. It's one of these things where I can't, like if I was using it every day, I probably would get more use out of it. But I found out all I was doing is paying this money to it, and everything I wanted to do with it, it seemed like I didn't have the right permissions. Like it was like, oh yeah, you need to upgrade to this one. It's like, dude, man, can I just get everything in one thing? Ease Danny says, have you had problems with the AdMob fill rate? I have on iOS, but not so much on Google Play. So true. If you can go back 5 years only. So Steadofire, overpassers. We're not going to do that. We're not going to have a group name. I think you know what? Because it is insulting to you. We're all app developers, right? If I say anything, I would say, hey, app developers, but then I don't want to exclude people who are just thinking about getting an app done. So, Love V says, you're awesome. Thanks, Love V. Hey, app makers, smash the like button. Yeah, hey, app makers, make sure you smash that like button. For those of you guys just joining us, smash the like button. Cord Funk says, yo, Eric, yo, Cord Funk. How do you decide what skill is worth spending time to master? On the flip side, how do you decide when it's time to quit a technology skill, etc.? You are talking to somebody who learned WAP, web application protocol, back in the early days of mobile, and I thought that was going to be the next big thing. It was around for about a couple years, so that was like, then now you have smartphones, so you just have HTML, but I can remember learning that, thinking it was going to be a huge thing, and it was on my CV for years afterwards, right? It was definitely not something worth learning, and it was just something I picked up on. There's other things I learned, like crystal reports, which was like a skill that was maybe marketable, but it was like, I just hated working with it. And sometimes you pick these things up, you don't know whether or not they're going to be used. What was I listening to? I was watching, I think it was Tech Lead. I think I was watching a Tech Lead video earlier today, and he was saying how if somebody marks themselves as a JavaScript, machine language with JavaScript, he said nobody's looking for machine learning with JavaScript. And I thought that was funny, because I remember thinking, I wonder if I could do machine learning with JavaScript. And there are libraries out there, but the majority is Python, right? That I've seen. So there's that kind of, it depends on whether or not it's something you wanted to create your own thing with, or if you wanted to be marketable with it. Like for me, I thought learning dialogue flow would be like really cool to learn. Like, so sitting down, learning how dialogue flows, creating a test application, spending at least 2 days porting it over to the Echo, and never doing anything more. Like, I never even released it, but it is released on Google Play, and I don't even know if it still works. And that's something that I thought was going to be the next big thing, and so far I've done nothing with it. But at least I have an idea of how it works. So I think there's certain things, Cord Funk, that you're going to have like a passing knowledge in, like enough knowledge to get you through an interview, and then there's some that you're going to be like really drilled down into, where you know the nooks and crannies of it. And it's kind of, I think it's like you're drilling for oil, right? You're like, I'm just going to drill lots of holes kind of shallow, and if any of them proves that they have oil in it, then I'm going to dedicate myself to that one. Same with apps, right? You put an app out there, right? If it seems like it's going to gain some traction, then dude, we'll go full on this one. A Fist 007, look at the long project though. It's a mega one. Looking at the wrong project. Dude, maybe it's just me looking at the wrong project. Simon Summertime says, missed most of the streak, or the stream. Loving all your content, though. Thanks very much, Simon. Steven. Let's see. Sorry, I hope I don't, that's not a secret. Walk the Talk says, if we unpublish the app, upload a new one with the same name and the same developer account, will Google have any problem? I have lost my signing key. No, Google won't have any problem doing that. Make sure you move the older one. I've done that. I've lost my signing key and had to create a new one, and that sucks. I mean, it just, I've done videos about that. Don't lose that key. Make sure you have it someplace. Like we did one called time goal, and I did all the this time I thought I'm going to market everything, all the links, the websites, and then as soon as we had to do the update, the developer's like, we lost the key, right? And I was like, you what? You lost the key, right? And I was all upset with them, but ultimately it's kind of like my thing. Like, if anybody should have the key, I should have been like, give me the key. As soon as it released first, okay, I want the key. I want it backed up. I want everything in Git, and just make sure you have that. So, but yeah, you could release it again. If you haven't had a lot of downloads on the previous one, then at least you don't have anything too much to worry about. But you might want to just make sure you go through and make sure the other one's unpublished first, so it doesn't look dodgy. Hartaj Singh says, my friend uploaded similar apps on App Store on the same day free. He uploaded from Silicon Valley and I did from Mumbai. He's getting 5 times more downloads. Does the location of upload matter? Not that I'm aware of. That's really strange. No, I wonder, because I remember we used, like in the early days, back in the early days of apps, when all you could see was fields, back in the early days of apps, like in 2012, I can remember talking to other app developers. We were talking about, does it matter which day of the week you post on, like you uploaded on? And it turns out that was just a myth, right? It's just the thing we're reading into it. So I wonder, but when you say that, I don't know. Like I've never heard of anybody doing that comparison before. John Mullahan says, hey Eric, hope you enjoyed the Taco Bell. I'll have to watch the live stream later. Yeah, I had Taco Bell. So I did a video which will go out tomorrow where I finished it off at Taco Bell. I went to Taco Bell yesterday because I went to London for a meeting, and I think it was awful. I mean, I like Taco Bell, but I think I ordered it wrong. The touchscreen thing. I think I at one point I thought I ordered extra chicken. I thought I didn't want extra chicken, so I removed the chicken, and then I got this burrito with no chicken, a chicken burrito with no chicken in it. It was just like mush. So anyway, not that as important. GraphQL. Yeah, I did say GraphQL, didn't I? So what's the song at the start before the live stream starts? So that's called Freedom by Toxic Hearts. It was on artlist.io, and I've been using it for the last few years. It used to be at the end of all the daily videos. Let's see. Imran says, does reskinning work? I think it used to, but I think I think the repetitive content policy on Google and 4.3, it's all in response to all the reskins that are out there. I was in a client meeting yesterday, and I happened to mention, sometimes I'm the worst salesman ever. Like, I'm in there talking about how we can build them a game, all this stuff, and then I'm thinking, I said, or you just look on Chupa Mobile and see if they have anything and reskin it. You spend thousands with me, or you can spend $50 and reskin it. But it's the one time I reskinned something, I had it removed, actually suspended from Google immediately, and that was a few years ago. So I think that's the whole reason why they're doing that. So why they have those rules in place. The pirate programmer, hey, a pirate programmer says, hello, Eric. Hey, how's it going? Jobatep says, what IDE do you use the most? I use WebStorm the most. However, I'm starting to get into Visual Studio Code, and I only wish the keyboard, the only thing that stops me is the keystrokes. So if I'm doing Android, then I'll use Android Studio, obviously. I used to use IntelliJ because I had the full JetBrains suite for a year, the subscription one. But when that ended, I went back to just using Android Studio because it's free if I'm doing Android. But if I'm doing something that's JavaScript based or even Corona based, like Lua based, I'll use WebStorm, and then if I'm doing anything that's, but lately I've been doing Visual Studio Code. I was a Visual Studio user for years, and I like the interface. I kind of mainly because of Flutter tutorials. Like all of them are using Visual Studio Code, and if you had asked me like 6 months ago, like, hey, do you use Visual Studio? I was like, Visual Studio? No, I'm on a Mac. Now I'm thinking, oh, VS Code is actually a really, really cool tool. Cordfunk says, what do you think of the oil parallel? Well, the oil parallel, because I'm Norwegian. Oil parallel? What does that mean? Got $200 USD tax bill this week. No way. Is that like you've been charged $2,000? Abdelatif says, how do I know that someone used my code to create an app? So that's a tricky one. Like, especially if you hire somebody. I remember, you have to have some level of trust there. You have to have the NDAs in place, you want to make sure that if somebody creates something for you, that if you're paying for that code, you don't want them to go out with a reskinned version like of their own. And that's one of the things that most people are really afraid of. And that's, it's if something like that happened, be vocal about it. Get them to take it down. But like if so, there's like they're using my code, like they're taking my entire project and reusing it, or they have a function which they've written which they want to use in another project. Like that's something I think is like that doesn't bother me so much. So Exceed Limit says, hey Eric, greetings from Syria. Cool. Hey, Syria, awesome. Awesome content. Thank you very much. Thanks for restoring trust regarding Ionic. It seems the only valid solution for iOS Android down here. Yeah, you know what? It was the Ionic video that I did to say why we're no longer using Ionic, and we are using Ionic on one project at the moment, where we had we're using it on 2 projects at the moment. So where we need a PWA and the app itself. So we are using it, but like I had the video saying why we're no longer using Ionic, and it was a very popular video. Like if you search Ionic, it would show up first, and Max was emailed me a couple times saying, look, this is like unfair. There's nothing we could do about this, and and I'm thinking, well, maybe but I wasn't like, I was like, dude, I'm just saying I don't use it. I'm not saying anybody should. In fact, I said very nice things about the video in it, but the title itself was like really bad. And then finally I thought, okay, well, if you could give me some stats on it, Max, I'll do a retraction. I'll say something, so he did. So, but I still have those fears sometimes about using the web view. However, it is a point where it's not just Ionic that would suffer. It's like a lot of other things. So, but no, it is like I said, even in the original video, I said like really, I guess it's just a clever platform. The guys who did it are really, really smart, like way smarter than I am. And and there's part of you that just feels bad thinking, they did all these. There are thousands of Ionic videos out there. There are tons of Ionic developers, the Ionic team, really smart guys doing really good work, and I just have one video where I talk for 3 or 4 minutes about how I'm not using it, and mine is showing up at the top of the search result, so possibly damaging their product. So yeah, in the end, I did exceed limits. I did remove it, and it's a good platform. There's no reason to be concerned about it at the moment. But again, it was just this thing where I'm thinking I'm more concerned about Apple than I am about them. So let's see. At Set of Fire, did you miss my question or did I zone out? I may have missed it. I submitted my app to the Play Store on the 12th, but it's still pending. Ooh, so 4 days. Is there some extra hoops I need to jump through, or should I just wait? I think just wait. I had that same thing, a client application where it took like 4 or 5 days. I did a video about it, and it came back as rejected. So like, it's not good news. I mean, it might not be good news, but it had to do with the privacy policy. It could come back as rejected, but it might be something about the privacy policy if it's the same thing. So I think you should just wait, because I was at the point now where I got to find something out. And I think I did fill in the, with Google, like I found a form somewhere. I can't remember how I got there. It was like finding something in a casino. Like I was wandering around Google Play Console. I found the form. I filled it in. I couldn't tell you where to find it, and I did that. But yeah, it could be bad news. But let us know, Steadifire, how it goes on that. Fist77, he's missing some posts. Am I? How many am I missing? All right, you guys. I'm trying so hard. I try so hard, guys. I try so hard to get you guys to like me. Let's see. If I missed your question, okay, if I've missed your question, please put it in again. My apologies. Let's see. Where was I? Brady Arrow says, "Hi, Eric. Are you happy with Corona these days? I've been working hard learning Unity, but the latest builds of Corona are looking more promising regarding wake locks, etc." You know what, Brady? I kind of feel the same way. Like for a while, I've kind of felt like Corona was dying, and I think they've just been working on the 64-bit thing because they've come back. So I was doing the data, so I was looking into it, thinking, God, they're gonna, they seem to be less. Their blogs seem to be like less prolific. You don't see stuff like the Corona. What was it? The Corona. There was that podcast that would like come on every week on YouTube. Not Corona Dev. Not Corona Dev. What was it? Where the guy with the beard and the yeah. But so it seemed to be very prolific and lots of books coming out, and I haven't seen a lot on that. However, they came out with a 64-bit version of the program. I think, okay, these guys are actually doing it. So it could be. I would love to. I would love for them to do it. So we have an app that I was in a meeting for today, and I'm thinking this would be. I'd really like to do this in Corona. Do this for myself because I could do it much quicker. My God, sometimes you got like developers who are just like. I got developers doing an app in Unity, and they're just taking forever. Everything is just hard. Like everything. Oh, Eric, I don't know if we could do that. It's like, dude, just look. It's not that hard. And sometimes sometimes it's just easier to jump in there and do it yourself, which is, again, from a leadership perspective, is a bad way of doing things because it's not scalable. Pirate Programmer says, "Hello, Eric. Have you tried the Keywords Everywhere plugin in Google Chrome, Firefox? Did you find it helpful in ASO?" I used it, but I use it mostly on YouTube. I haven't used it on ASO. Fist007 says, "He keeps jumping my question." Fist007, what's your question? Have I missed it? John Mativ says, "Hey, Eric, what's your advice on give someone learning Flutter for Android development or in general?" I think it's a really good platform. So Julia, who's on our team, she's been learning it the last couple of weeks, and she's been able to produce some stuff, but and not having any coding experience. So I think it's a different way of thinking where you're doing everything in widgets, so you have this nested hierarchy, which could get really messy. But if you break up the files and have the includes and everything, what I like about it, the same thing I like about Corona, is there's no markup language. Everything's done in code, right? I like having everything in code so that it renders, and also so it renders, and I also like the fact that it's a hot reloading thing. So Julia, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but she's been working on it, but she hasn't been able to get the hot reload rendering, so she keeps compiling it onto a device every time to test it. And I thought, that's too slow, right? You might as well do native then. But let's see. Walk the Talk says, "Your EarSpy app seems to compete with theirs." Am I missing some questions here? Am I missing a section? Apologies here. That's a Popeye. For those of you guys who are not old enough, Popeye was a cartoon we watched as children. Even though we were children, we watched cartoon about a middle-aged sailor, which is, probably would never go today. I can't paste the Google Play links here. Yeah, something about pasting links into Search, Sound, Amplifier, and Play Store. God, there's loads of them. So many competitors out there. First name, last name says, "How much impressions do you get every day from ads in Android?" Every day, so for the last 7 days is about 640,000. I don't know. In terms of Android, I don't know. I'll have to go through and look at that. But like across both platforms. Let's see. Steadifire, yeah, sure. share it when you learn more. Cool. Yeah, definitely let us know, Stead of Fire. Pirate Program says, Eric, have you experienced bugs coming from a single device? Example, Samsung Galaxy. Yes, I have. I have to fix a bug that only concerns one device that affects 4 users. How do you deal with it? That's just like we had one that was only on, I think it was Samsung S4 on Android version 4.2.2, which was affecting the action bar. And it was such a weird one, right? So in the end, I mean, you could just like not support that device, but in the end, I think we did something. I think we just had like a nasty, messy if statement. Like it was just an if statement, just like to jump over it. But yeah, sometimes you'll find those kind of things because you think it's a platform, like it's Android, so it should be the same for everybody. But no, it's just something about the implementation on the Samsung one we had trouble with. Let's go. Ooh. So Abdul, so we're just gonna keep going. Actually, so I'm gonna have to stop answering questions here because it's getting late. But after Simo plays, that's gonna be the last one. So you guys are already dropping off. I feel like I'm the last one at the party. So we're gonna stop. Do that. So whose question did I miss? So if I missed your question, please put it in here really quick. Okay, so Abdul Latif says, I want to use a popular cartoon character in my game. Is there any way to buy the license to use it? You know what? They're probably, I wouldn't bother. I mean, I assume it's going to be something ridiculously expensive. Like if you were to go to somebody and say, I want to use the Mickey Mouse in my game, I'm sure Disney won't say, okay, it'll be $100. Like, I'm sure it'll be something, where they'll probably get marketing people involved. They'll probably spend more money to investigate your request than you could even imagine paying for it. So, but I've never tried. To be honest with you, I've never tried. So that's always just been the way that I thought about it. Brady says, exactly my feelings. I'm glad you have confidence in Corona. More so, just since that last one. I just had some unexpected freezing in apps on Samsung devices, and it frustrates the heck out of me. Unity is getting easier all the time for me, lots of tutorials, etc. But I'd love to keep using Corona 2D in my projects. You know what? Brady, what I don't like about Unity, and I know there's a lot of Unity developers out there, is I don't like the IDE. I like the fact that in Corona I could just use Sublime Text, or I'm using WebStorm at the moment. I guess I use VS Code now that I'm moving over to that. Let's see. Fist007 says, I can't believe it. You read the jumping over my message and missed the question just after it. Here's the question. There's no question. Are we not getting that question through? Walk to Talk says, I posted some questions too, but do not have the chat. But do you have the chat filter here? I refreshed my page. The question is gone from here. There is a chat filter. Julia, you're not deleting things, are you? Julia, are you still there? Let's see. Julia, where was I? Just jumping around. Yeah. So sorry if I'm not getting those questions through. Walk to Talk could be. Yeah, it could be. I think there is a default. I haven't added anything special on the YouTube chat. So, Rodrigo, Julia codes. She's learning. She's early stages. I happen to believe, Rodrigo, that anybody can learn if they apply themselves and you give them enough time. If they're dedicated, they can do it. Okay, I can see her typing. So anybody could do it if they give it enough time. So it's that. I mean, my background was in history, and then they gave me an opportunity, and I sunk both teeth into it and thought I'm gonna learn as much as I can as quickly as I can. Okay, so Julia says she has not deleted any of your comments, so it must be something on the YouTube thing. So let's see. Sound Amplifier is Google's own app. Oh, is it? Simo Play says, hi Eric, what did you do regarding the problem you had with Apple telling you to assemble your apps into one container? Is there a workaround? What did you end up doing? Thank you. I've done nothing regarding it because I started doing a container app, and every time I start doing it, I get angry, and then I think it's just a stupid thing. I'm silently protesting, and they don't care. So in the end, I haven't done it. I met with a client yesterday, and I had to demo my apps, but I had to like install them from the code because they're not on the App Store anymore. So I'd like, on the video that I did, with the video you see tomorrow, in the beginning, I'm loading a bunch of stuff onto my iPad because I wanted to demo them to the clients, but they're not live anymore because of the whole container app thing. So I was sitting here compiling stuff and regenerating the certificates, the provisioning profiles, getting everything put back onto my iPad. And I was also nearly late for the meeting because I was doing that stuff. So, and then I had to explain to them how Apple's removed a lot of my stuff, but I did have a lot more because they were all iPhone users. And I wanted to show them the Play Store where the apps still exist. So yeah, in the end, I didn't do anything. I still have I think I have 6 apps on the App Store. So sorry, SEMA Plays. I don't have an answer. I have not been able to successfully fight Apple on that one. Fist007, in case my question gets skipped again. Where's the question? What is your question full of racial slurs and slang? Why your question not going through? Okay. Your question. So why I don't know why your guys' questions are being deleted. Let's see. Simon, supper time. Good night, Eric. Good night, Simon. Fist007. I knew it. Thanks, Walk the Talk. So, let's see. No problem, Fist007. So, what are we? Am I missing the question? After you post it, here's the question. All right. So I think for some reason you guys' questions are getting blocked by YouTube. Let's see. You must be a Democrat. I said. All right, okay, now I've lost plot. Brady says, once you accept Unity as an object-oriented IDE, it all comes together. I fought it for several years before I clicked. I think I need to. There's a guy who did a tutorial called Mastering Corona SDK. Jay something. I can't remember his last name. And so I watched his course and everything when I was learning Corona. And I know he did a Unity 2D tutorial too, and I'd like to see one where it does Unity 2D for Corona developers or something like that, just to make that leap. Because sometimes, especially if you're doing a game, it gets hard getting other developers to work on it, mainly because you got little subtle things. What would be cool is if when you score, if this thing shakes a little bit, right? And if you explain it to another developer, and they're like, ooh, I don't know. Geez, that's going to be different. And it's simple, right? Because you could do it, right? And you're like, okay, so when they score a point, I just wanted to say the number, the plus 55, and it floats to the top and fades out. Ooh, I don't know what I do. And then you get into a meeting, and you're trying to explain it, and then they go off and do it, and it's wrong. And sometimes it's easier, especially when a game, it's easier just to do it yourself. So yeah, Brady, that kind of... do I seem frustrated? Let's see. You need to type your questions. Okay, so is that what it is? That being said, I haven't completed a project in Unity yet, but it's been a lot of fun. Maybe I'll do that. Julia Rodrigo is asking you to marry him. Let's see. Jacques de Molay says, hey, Eric, have you tried any experience with Shout'em? What are your thoughts on it? You guys keep asking questions. Is this I always wonder if, when I started Overpass, I remember I was doing an article, I did this article in a blog someplace, and I didn't use my own name, I used somebody else's, and I says all the major outsourcing providers, and I name a few of them, and I slip Overpass in there, just to try to promote my own thing. And every time somebody says, have you looked at this tool, I wonder if they're actually working for the tool, so or if it's something that they're actually doing. So let's have a quick look at Shout'em, and then seriously, you remember what I said earlier? That was gonna be the last question. This one, seriously, we're gonna end it now, because we've all got lives to get back to, right? You guys got stuff to do. So hang on, my kids are phoning. They're hungry. Let's see. So this is Shout'em, mobile app creator, simple, affordable, powerful. Same kind of thing. Drag and drop interface. You have the GUI. Again, what's the other one? So if it is, so I have no thoughts on this. It seems like the others, and they're all kind of competing with each other. So, and there was that thing a couple years ago where it wasn't 4.3, but Apple started saying they didn't want anything that was wizard generated. And I think that caused problems for people like Appy Pie and stuff. But then I think they got it resolved. and that's kind of thing where you got to put it in, not on, you don't want to put everything on your own account for your clients and stuff. You want to have everybody else's separate accounts. Okay, so now we're gonna end this thing. Brady, thanks. Good to hear you live again. It's been a while. I've been contracting to pay the bills. Cool. Contracting is a good way to good source of income, especially if you're a developer and you're doing what you love. So you can still learn to be better at developing while you're developing. So let's see. Biswajit, good night. Eric and Julia. So everybody, good night. Jay wrote the Outlaw ID. That's right, Jay. What's his last name? I used it for a long time before switching to Zero Bane. I've never used Zero Bane. Yo, Johnny. Hey, how's it going? Yo, Johnny. Sorry you showed up just at the end. Fizz 007. I think the dot written actual test. Oh yeah, we're still waiting for those questions. Your lives become longer and longer. I know, man. But this is a good thing. Really? Full stack developer is walk the talk. When you do design web front end server programming and database too, what do you call someone who does mobile apps in addition? Fuller stack developer. Billy, see you later. Good night, Julia. Good night. Streams. Yeah, that's it. Stream's over. Cheryl, I was like with friends. I got literally nothing to do. Fist 007 and walk the talk. Sorry, I didn't get you guys questions, but we'll try to get to those next week. And everybody, this is officially the longest live stream we've done, I think, in the last couple of years we've been doing it. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. There is a video for tomorrow on the Overpass Insights. Thank you everybody who's smashed the like button and everybody who's subscribed. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. And I'll see you guys tomorrow on the Overpass Insights. I'll see you guys next week on the live stream. Have a good weekend. Later. That was off brand. Later. Goodbye. See ya.